Hello and welcome to UK Versus. To the couple of people that are in there for that brand new opening, I've worked kind of hard on it, but let's talk about what's gone on this week and our experiences with Godzilla. I am, of course, Brett King Shark Pendragon, and I am once again joined by my lovely co-host Richard Rodan Plummer. How have you been, Richard? I mean, we don't know the pull rate is higher. It could just be a massive wave of luck, but it definitely feels compared to the other Challenger series, a lot more of these have been pulled. Yeah, some people. Sorry, we'll just apparently you didn't unmute when I clicked it. Uh,
Oh, anyway, yes, I've had a good week. As I said, I've got the other two Godzilla Challenger decks to sort of fill out my play sets. Got the very very shiny card you can see on screen. Was very happy. Still not happy about it.
yeah,
Um,
but as you
but
say, the pull rates feel a lot lower than in the past with Chromes.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, I thought I was a lovely special snowflake, but actually, it turns out I think everyone's getting them. I think in the previous Challenger series, they felt around the sort of rarity as a chrome, and were sort of the secondary market was sort of valuing them as such. But just the sheer amount we're seeing people open, they're more, I would say, on par with like a secret rare or an alt art secret rare or an XSR, that sort of range. So they're still valuable, they're still desirable, they still look really good, but maybe not quite as rare and unobtainable as previous ones.
Yeah.
But it sort of makes sense. Obviously the design team went to a lot of effort on these, so they probably wanted to get a bit more in circulation to have more people be able to appreciate and enjoy them. So that's fair.
Yeah, if you're interested in an alt art Ghidorah, there's currently one on TCG Player for $1,400.
And yet that person is on Cow Cuckoo Land.
But yeah, it definitely feels like the pull rate has changed. I mean, there's been a couple of people saying you're pretty much guaranteed to get one in a case, but
No, like I say, I think it looks like around the 2 to 4 case
yeah,
sort of rate.
Cat Goblin were very quick to shoot that down. And at the
Hmm.
summit, we had 18 of those handed out, and I was the only person to pull an alt art.
That
So,
we know of, yeah. I don't think there was any other ones.
but no one else has like come forward with them. We have not everyone's uploaded their content, so that's a fair one.
Hmm.
I didn't from the content I've seen of other people. There were some very good cards pulled. I don't think anyone pulled another alt art.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like all the alt arts again, they always look really good, right? So, like even the non-character ones look really good, but they've obviously gone a step above on these character alt arts. So, um, yeah, they just look awesome. Yeah, the Bionic Menace is very very shiny.
We got Bayern Menace, and then we got the announcement of double points over the weekend, which is very
Hmm.
very cool for people looking to get the LP. And then you can dump that LP into an exclusive promo. I think this is a very cool thing that they're doing, and it seems to be a running trend now. I mean, immediately after Godzilla was released, I was checking the redemption store for
Hmm.
this, and because I was like, well, they did it for Critical Role, they did it for UU, they did it for Girl Power. Chances are we're going to get one now, and yeah, I think this is a very cool way to celebrate product dropping.
Yeah, I mean they in a way almost have to, right? Um, just because we don't have plus ultras anymore, because we're not My Hero anymore. We're Universes.
Yeah,
So like the redemption store was obviously the good way of getting, picking up those plus ultra cards that you didn't manage to get from locals, or maybe people who didn't have locals, that sort of thing, and spending those points. But there isn't that option anymore, right? Obviously all the backdated ones, but there aren't new ones coming out that you need those points to pick up your sets of. So they need to be feeding stuff into the redemption store to spend your points and make that the collection of those points and going to locals and racking those up actually have a certain amount of value, right? That sort of loyalty scheme, as it were. So I think them adding like a new alt art promo for every release is really good.
Hmm.
And obviously they've done other stuff as well. So obviously they put the googly eye stuff up on there. So I think they're they're constantly looking for other things and interesting things they can do with that redemption store. So
Yeah. And
I
speaking,
would fully expect to be seeing like one of these sort of promos with every release.
yeah, and speaking
Um,
of the Redemption Store, on Friday we got a little notification that Suicide Squad Isekai will be
mhm.
joining Universus, w- and it will be promos for Harley Quinn and the Joker, who will be given out for free at people attending Anime Expo. But the huge deal news was that they will be on the Redemption Store
Yeah,
July 19th, was it?
something like that. I mean, do you know what an isekai is? What isekai means? I assume it's more of a generic term rather than a very specific
So
term to this.
Ezekai is
Or
just best way to put it is Ezekai is the keyword that is put when someone is reborn or transported to a different world.
okay, yeah, just for those sorts of
Yeah,
non-anime nerds among us that have no clue, like it's not just a specific thing to what's going on here. It's more
no.
of a generic term, right?
Yeah, it's a generic genre of anime where the protagonist is usually hit by a truck, but there's been other examples of them being sold or they die and get reincarnated and all stuff like that. And they wake
Okay,
up.
so Yu Yu is sort of an isekai, right? I guess maybe in that the main character sort of dies and then goes off and fannies
But
around
he's,
in the
he's
ghost
still within
world.
the same world. I mean, some of the arcs where he goes to the demon plane, yes, that would be an isekai.
Okay.
Would be classed as isekai, but it's all still part of his world. This is where they go to like a completely different world. Uh, I don't think there's many izekais in the game at the minute,
No,
but
but
no,
like obviously it's a thing. It's they're obviously doing this as a release in terms of like the program, and this is a cool way of getting on board in
oh, 100
terms of
percent.
them marketing their thing and getting that tie in. I think that the biggest deal with this is obviously it's a foot in the door, right? In terms of with DC, because although obviously it's I don't know what company is producing the Isekai, but obviously they have a relationship with DC in order to use their IP. So in theory, then
Well,
that
yeah,
gives
uh,
UBS Games a foot in the door with DC.
yeah, that's
So
just it. And the previews for Harley Quinn and Joker were done by Warner Brothers Japan. And one of the
mm,
cool things was when I was going to upload the stuff on Friday, the first thing I was hit with on YouTube when I came on was Warner Brothers Japan announces Suicide Squad and Isekai tie-in promos, and basically the Universus cards were the first thing I saw when I
mm.
went onto YouTube that day, which was really really cool advertising.
Yeah, exactly. If it comes from their channel, obviously a lot of non-gamers are going to be going to, right? Just because they want to see Suicide Squad, Harley Quinn, Joker. Like, they're two. Whether you're a Marvel person or a DC person, or whether you're not even necessarily a comic book person, right? You've almost certainly heard of the Joker, right? Like, even if you don't care about this sort of
Yeah,
stuff, you'd have heard. You know who the Joker is. Like, no one doesn't know the Joker. So again, it's a big kind of sort of mass market appeal type IP there. But you can imagine that there's a possibility of maybe like a Suicide Squad Isekai kind of challenger deck down the line, or going even further, like bringing things
yeah.
like Superman, the Justice League, whatever the heck else DC has, I don't know. Um,
The DC and Warner Brothers, because it was Warner Brothers Japan, own loads of stuff going from like Cartoon Network to Hanna Barbera
mm,
to then going to Mortal Kombat, which is something we've had in the past. But
yeah,
to anyone watching this that thinks this is a great collaboration, do not keep it to yourself. Get on Twitter, get on Facebook, get on all your socials, and share this around. Tag Warner Bros. Japan. Let them know you are hyped for this because they want to see that this is a good collaboration. And if you want us to be able to go deeper down the Warner Brothers rabbit hole, then Warner Brothers Japan needs to know that we are listening.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hello, Card
exactly. So
Goblin.
like yeah, it sort of works both ways, right?
Yeah,
It needs to work for UVS, but from their perspective, I guess it's probably a bit of a no-brainer that DC stuff is just going to work. But part of it is sort of selling the IP holders and their partners from that side that this is a good thing for that UVS is a good company for them to work with, and it
exactly.
benefits them. So yeah.
Yeah, and the Discord was immediately hyped because people want Peacemaker and
Hmm.
King Shark, Clayface. They want the Harley Quinn animated series, which personally I would absolutely love.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, like Batman the animated series, right?
oh
That's a
yeah,
hugely popular one. Like you can imagine how hard they would go. Um, like yeah, again, lots of opportunities. Similar in vein in when we talked about when they originally got the Attack on Titan and the way they were working with Kodansha.
yeah.
Again, that opens a lot of doors potentially. Um,
So at Worlds last
but-
year, we had Zeno Robinson, which was huge for people going. They want to go get stuff signed and like chat with him. Can you imagine if we had a Batman animated series set and we could go? Mark Hamill is coming to Worlds.
exactly.
That,
Like never going to happen. But I
they could do.
suppose, yeah.
It would be absolutely amazing. Uh, but speaking of Attack on Titan, we have officially entered preview season for Attack on Titan.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, as Kagome said, the Batman animated series would hit so hard. It's one of the things I brought up with Connor on Friday. Go check out that video from ourselves or the Dubbers. But we got started Attack on Titan sponsors, and there was one thing that the Dubbers brought up that a lot of people seem to have not actually looked into. So
Which
I'll
is
bring up a card on screen, and most people have now figured out that the card color that's on the card relates to the symbol it's attuned to. So chaos is
yeah.
pink, air is white, air is blue, death is red. It's something that people have picked up on that, but it took a lot longer than I expected for people to pick up on. But
Hmm.
nobody's talking about the commit for cost symbol.
Yeah, I mean, I think there were people that talked about it, right? It's just a minor thing. It's just again clearing up text, similar to how I don't think UVS have particularly explained sacrifice in detail. Right? There's not been anything
No,
specific about sacrifice, but it's just like an obvious thing. It isn't really a big spoilery thing, right? It's just like it's
that's
a
more.
clarification.
Yeah, that's more something that will come in the rules update when we get the clarification of the text.
Yeah.
Uh,
Again, it's very similar to spend, right? It was just
yeah,
what they did with that. It's not really a big deal. It's just kind of um clarifying, the destroy word because it's used too much, right? There's too many
it's
things that
the
destroy does.
the
So,
big thing
um,
is it's too vague. So it's something that I was confused about, and it's something that I have seen now because someone in the creators chat was saying the creators don't go into the beginner's assistance enough. So we're
mm,
going in there more trying to help out, and a few times now people have been saying if a card says destroy a foundation, can I target my opponents? It's like I get where you're coming from, but that's it means destroy one of your own.
exactly,
And
exactly. It's
sacrifice,
similar to how you know um, if you've discarded a momentum, does that count as discarding a card? Well, no, but it's not necessarily obvious that that's the case, right? Unless you sort of know the game
yeah,
rules. So, hence why it's now spend because it's just
spend,
clarifying that
clear,
stuff.
yeah,
So that's literally all sacrifice is doing from that
it's a
perspective.
clarification, yeah.
Yeah. So again, nothing exciting. It's just clearing up some rules. And similar to
Something that
the
definitely,
commit symbol, it's just a case of obviously it's just UVS's version of the tap symbol for
yeah.
Magic. It is again, it's just saving card text, so it's fine. Again, it might be one of those things that people hate and they walk it back.
So we were talking last week about accessibility for people who might be visually impaired, that might
Mm,
have a bit more issue. But this also works on a multi-level situation. If someone who have slight visual impairment, someone who doesn't have English as their first language, they can
mm.
see this card, they can see that symbol, and they can immediately go, "I need to commit for this." That is
Yeah, yeah.
very,
Again,
very cool.
probably I think the main benefit is effectively reducing text on
Yeah.
cards when it doesn't need to be there. Yeah, sure. I guess it slightly helps from a perspective of non-language dependent, but we don't have multi-language cards anyway, so it's
No.
going to be
But
tricky
for
to
people
get
that don't
someone to.
have English as their first language, making sure they pay their costs is a huge thing.
Yeah, yeah. So, like again, I think there's sort of going to be minor benefits from that perspective, but the main thing is just clearing up text boxes,
Yeah.
and that's totally fine.
One of the things that
Um,
does need some explanation, though, or are you finished with this, or do you want to keep going?
Yeah, I was just going to say, obviously, there's been a lot of like reveals and articles in terms of there's cards, there's mechanics. Obviously, we'll go through a bunch of them today, but do go and check out all of Brett's videos he's done on YouTube. Obviously, I've been a worker since I haven't been able to sort of tag in during the day and record anything. So he's done a lot of work there. So yeah, go check out his stuff on the channel.
I am trying to get them out as quickly as the articles are
Mm.
coming down. I'm trying to get them going at the same time. When the Joker and Harley Quinn stuff dropped, we were given 5 hours warning, and I was like, "It's 10 p.m. at night. I'm not messing about now."
Yeah.
But David did a great job. I think he was the only content creator that actually got one out for the reveal, which is very, very cool. I would have done, but it was 10 p.m. and I'd already started to shut down my brain. But
Yeah, that is fair.
the most controversial mechanic we've had from the week has probably been Blitz.
Yes.
Not because of what it does, but because of how unclear it's been around how it does it.
I'd say a bit of both, right? There's people obviously picking holes at the reminder text, and that's unfortunate. I think that was, if I were to guess, an oversight and possibly something where maybe something was changed mid-design process and someone forgot to update the reminder text. I don't know, because obviously the reminder text seems to suggest that it's mandatory, Blitz isn't.
Yeah,
But most of the debate is actually around sort of actually what is going on with Blitz in terms of what's it doing. And that's the thing is it's the question is what is Blitz? How is it benefiting the game, right?
exactly.
Um,
We have got a whole video. I go into more detail about
mm,
Blitz, but the TLDR for Blitz is it is an effect that triggers at the start of the enhanced step, but before first enhances take place. They're optional. You choose where they go. Like we have seen here, there's two, so you can choose which order you do them in, and they're just there to make sure cards do what they're designed to do. They can be interactive with responses. Don't think you can't interact with Blitz. That you still can. It's just a way to make sure cards do what they say they're doing, and to make the enhanced step a bit smoother.
yeah, it's not really that. So Carl Goblin, to answer your question, it's sort of, I think about it almost as a response on play, but it isn't a response. Um, again, it's sort of a split way between a response on play and a first enhance that you just get to do. So, to my understanding, and obviously the conversations we always have in Vegas, the point of this is that again, it's supposed to be part of that lessening mental load, right? Without necessarily removing the enhanced step or completely dumbing the game down, right? So the idea being is that it's on the cards. You play your attack, it does the thing, and you can then almost forget about the text on the attack at that point. And also, like, so then you just go into sort of enhancing from your stage. So again, it's not reducing all of the enhancement tango, right? You've still got all the stuff going on. You've got the back and forth, but it's let's say you've got 8 enhances to do. You now got 6 or whatever, right? It's just just
It,
just dialing it back a little bit, right?
yeah, and it also
Um,
makes it so that you're not having as much. You still have the same interactions, but you're not playing as much chicken. You're not having to go as deep.
Yeah,
So, for
and
example,
sometimes that's good, right?
yeah,
Sometimes that is worthwhile, right? I've got a battle aura release that I can obviously put damage on. My opponent's got a broken psyche, so we can have that dance, right? So there is a little bit of a loss to this, but from a new player perspective, then playing their attack doing their thing, and like they're then going to doing the enhances. That makes sense. I understand it. Um, and then, sort of in theory, then being able to just ignore the attack. One of the questions that comes up, and one of the things new players sometimes aren't sure about is like how the enhancers on my attack. Do I get to play those on other attacks? Like, are they? Again, it's not necessarily clear that it's just on the one
Yeah.
you're doing. Um, so that's fine. You've still got enhancers on attacks like stun and EX and powerful and stuff.
We've
Um,
still not seen all the attacks from Attack on Titan, so there could be other enhancers mixed in along with Blitz,
yeah,
so that we do not know. But part
no,
of the reason why I chose positional advantage is to go back to what you're saying about that dance with Broken Psyche and Battle Aura. If
hmm,
you had positional advantage and these were enhancers, the the enhanced step becomes less about the attack and making sure it can hit. It becomes about how many cards can I get into my opponent's hand and how many can they discard before I
hmm,
pull the trigger on that damage. Blitz basically goes, you pick up a foundation, I get a minimum of +1 to my damage, and you get to pick up a very advantageous block if you want.
yeah,
And then we move to enhances where I'm going to try and make this hit, you're going to try and stop it from hitting, so it's more about the attack itself rather than how far can I pump this into the sun.
yeah. And like there's stuff lost, there's stuff gained. Um, so uh, obviously, like I say, we do still have in theory things like EX, powerful, stun, echo, all that stuff. One thing I was watching Tam's stuff on this that I do sort of agree with him is that I wish we didn't, and I wish that either we had blitz only or enhancements only, right? Because if you get blitz stuff that still has stun and EX, it's like, well, it doesn't really solve that problem of, well, I can now ignore my attack, right? Because you've still got stuff on it. It's not really then achieving necessarily what you wanted it to achieve. Um, Obviously, tricky to pull off in terms of getting that
I
to work. And
Yeah,
the only way to do that would be to effectively say, well, there's no stun, EX, or powerful stuff with blitz, which
I think that would be a terrible move. We've
it would you would lose a lot from the game, but I understand where he's coming from. In that, if you want to make blitz work as a more new player friendly kind of way of positioning attacks, having them either be one or t'other, right, rather than
yeah,
sort of almost being forced in position of the midway. But that'll be a tricky one to actually pull off and
yeah,
not
getting
be
rid of
terrible.
basically all the evergreen abilities because you keep
Yeah, it's
Echo. You'd be able to keep Echo and Flash because they don't interact in the enhanced step. But me, I'm throw, I guess. But losing EX, powerful, and stun, especially stun, would be so
Yeah, yeah. I'm
detrimental
not
to the
saying
game.
it's necessarily an ideal situation, but like I said, I did understand where he's coming from of wanting to
Yeah,
just have either or, right? So you're getting this kind of benefit of I'm a new player, I play my attack, it does its thing, and now I can sort of ignore it, right? So yeah, I mean, Blitz, I think, is one of those things where the proof will be in the pudding. I need to see how it plays out. I need to see how the sort of overall reaction, especially when it comes to sort of how new players find it, whether they do grok that easier, whether that it is like they find the game stickier as a result.
yeah. I think
Because part of it is it's not necessarily that new players can't understand this game, is that they decide they don't want to climb that wall right when they get into it, and it's hopefully just sort of we talked about this last week, lessening that slope. So you mainly seen with a blitz is one of those things that does that and lessens that slope, but hopefully it is. I mean, it just remains to be seen.
But yeah, like you hit the nail on the head there. It's just a case of this is a kind of like a player onboarding set as well. We know Attack on Titan is going to bring people in,
Hmm.
and one of the biggest thing is you do your demo and then you go into a standard event and you get slammed with all this bombardment of information of all these really good cards, and then you've also got players who are just flowing with it because it's what they now know. Uh,
Yeah.
Blitz gives them access to a little bit of that flow, and events like Attack on Titan Spotlight are going to allow them to sort of level up through that progression slope. And I think that's why things like powerful and stun still need to be around because it also
Hmm.
gives them a little bit of an insight as to what they're going to be coming into a standard. That their attacks kind of still matter, but it's an onboarding process. And if I was a new player, I definitely wouldn't want to go from Blitz to as like my demo to a standard event where I'm then going, oh, I now have to take on a lot more information.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Uh,
Um,
yeah, I think Blitz has been kind of talked to death. Everyone's more now waiting, more seen it as it's harmless. It doesn't really kill the game,
mm,
but it's one that people are worried about being overutilized. Cad Goblin is saying Attack on Titan seems to be lining up to be a very successful set. Uh, had a lot of Clash deck orders. That's really, really good because Clash decks are now designed with new players in mind. So if you're getting more Clash than Challenger, it means people are looking to onboard.
yeah,
Uh,
that's really really cool to hear.
yeah, and hopefully Mike and Josh get stars on board. I will be keeping an eye out in my local area for anyone. I did put a Facebook post up for my friends saying if anyone's interested in Attack on Titan, let me know and I'll teach them the game. To which Claxo went, no, no one's interested. They told me. Ah, thanks, mate. But then we had, sorry, I had a cough. So then we had the big thing I think of the week personally was Ruin. Of course, we had achievement, but we've already covered achievement earlier in the week. So
Yeah.
since the last episode, I think Ruin was bigger than Blitz. I think the overall
Mm,
reaction has been positive. I think Ruin will have a
no, I
bigger.
think Blitz is a bigger thing in the game, right? Ruin is just kind of a splashy thing, and I don't envision seeing Ruin on a huge amount of cards in the set.
But Ruin
Um,
is a great. It's a more elegant answer to Deadlock than forcing players to run effects that basically act as a mutual assured destruction.
mm,
Like the fact that people will overbuild will always be a thing, and players are often put in situations where they have to overbuild. There's an entire Jin Void deck that is around the idea of I'm going to force you into deadlock so that I can do my things, and that is not fun for anyone. I know because I've heard the complaints about people who have faced that Jin
mhm.
deck. Ruin is a great way to it's a great elegant solution to deadlock by going, I'm going to blow up your foundations, but only the face down ones. You still get to do your things, you still get to press your buttons, but I'm going to keep you in line uh, with Ruin 1 or Ruin 2, and then you got the Colossal Titan the Colossus Titan that basically goes, ha! Now let's get that for 13.
Yeah, but I guess the question is like, do these cards ever see play, right? If they're on big ass attacks that aren't like the Colossus Titan was awesome, right? The big old
Yeah.
13 diff. It's cool as hell. I don't think it's ever seeing any sort of competitive play, right? That is the Timmiest of Timmy cards.
I so I'm gonna do it as a separate video. I think I'm gonna do like a short 3 4 minute video of the characters that basically that have gained the most and lost the most from Ruin.
Hmm.
And I think on that list is definitely Karasu, and I think Recovery Girl plays that 13 diff attack very well.
Yeah, I mean Shishu Akamaru, right, is the thing. But like, yeah,
Space
it's a
what?
silly attack, and I don't even necessarily think the recovery goal wants to play because she just commits out for it. It's like, sure, I black my stage, but whatever.
Yeah,
Like, it's a cool thing. I'm sure people are going to use it and maybe play with it, but um, like, I don't think it'll be a competitive card.
no,
And like,
it's definitely
this card on screen, right? This isn't necessarily. I don't think that's a competitive card. Like, it's just a 7 mid 7, and yeah, I'll black one of your face downs, but it's not
it's a
competitive, right?
7 but it's a 4 check, and
It is.
that
I
is a
get that,
huge.
but like it's still a 7 diff. I'm still committing out for it, so it's like, what am I getting for that when I could just play like an arm of the wolf, right? So, um, I suspect Ruin will be few and far between. I think it'll be on those big Titan based cards, right? It makes sense from a thematic perspective, and I would doubt how many of them end up being competitively viable. So I don't know how much of an impact Ruin actually will have. Um, Obviously there's been the comparisons to Eldrazi stuff, right? So
Hmm.
Annihilator is the obvious one. Annihilator sort of does the same in terms of magic stuff. And to that I say, yes, but also it's all very they're similar kind of things, right? They're huge, big ass titans that destroy everything. So the
Yeah.
fact they end up being mechanically very similar isn't overly surprising,
Again, we've
right?
got. Well, I did a whole video on this for the channel, and basically,
Mm,
Ruin is a perfect mechanic for Attack on Titan because it's all about the futility of walls. If I
mm,
damage you, you're not safe behind your wall because I get to destroy some of your wall. That is a
mm.
very Attack on Titan ability.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to see the other stuff, and we haven't seen any characters yet. So you're saying Ruin might be
No.
far and few and far between, but there might be characters that love to interact with Ruin. It's a very Titan-based ability, like you said, and then
Mm.
hopefully we'll see some Titans coming in the character from the characters because there's a lot of characters that are also Titans themselves.
Yeah,
Spoilers for
and
a
we
very
know
old show.
yeah, and we know there are dual face characters, right? That was already confirmed. So, I'd imagine there's going to be some amount of characters transforming into, say, Titan versions or something along those lines.
Yeah.
So, um, but yeah, like I say, the main scene about Ruin, I don't care about. Like, it's just to me, it's almost a bit of a nothing burger. Like, it's a totally fine mechanic. Like, I don't mind it. I don't hate it. Um, I don't know whether it's actually going to really impact much outside of maybe a couple of cards in terms of like, the competitive landscape.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see.
Speaking of the competitive landscape, you give me very good segues today, Richard. I do appreciate
Excellent.
it.
I
We
mean, I'd
got
like to say it was intentional, but clearly wasn't.
we got the season 2 promos that dropped,
Yeah.
and they look amazing. They knew what they were doing with Dabby. Dabby is there for the female gaze and the gays themselves. He is so hot in this image, but we'll get back to him in a minute. So we have Toga 3, which is a very interesting choice given that we just had Toga 4. Dabby 3 and Tomoe Shigaraki 3 as our participation. And then I forgot which one Spinner was on. And we have a nice try promo with twice on it, which is very, very cool.
It's Contempt for Heroes, right? It's the
Contempt
spinner
for
one.
Heroes, okay. Yeah. And then we have twice on the nice try, which some people have been questioning as to why he got nice try. I think that's very, very cool that twice got nice try.
Yeah. I mean, Toys is quite a sarcastic character, right? So nice try is a sort of thing I can imagine him saying, right?
Oh, I went in a completely different direction, and I went with he gave a nice try in his fight against Hawks.
Again, I haven't seen that far in the program.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, these are all look really cool. Like the League of Villains in their business things. I'm assuming this isn't from the actual show. This is just bespoke art.
I think this is more customized. I think there's been lots of like art of them in like mafia style suits.
Mm,
I know it's a very popular fan art for Dabby to be in that suit, and I sent it to some Dabby fanboys and fangirls, and they immediately sent back they knew what they were doing with everyone else being like propping the suit and Dabby being like pulling it off like the bad boy. Uh,
yeah,
I like
yeah. I
how
mean, these look really really cool.
they
Like,
do.
um,
I'm so
but no one plays Toga 3, so I don't know why she's on there.
I see. I like that we're staying perfectly balanced because we're fixing the error that is in the Toga 3 text by reprinting her. But then we've broken Dabby 3's text by giving him the wrong symbols.
What?
Dabby 3 doesn't have death. Dabby 3 has evil.
Oh,
So the promo on the screen here is Chaos, Death, Fire, which is what Dabby 1 has, which makes me think maybe this was originally Dabby 1. And then it is Dabby 3 on
is
there.
Toga 3 misprinted in the main set?
Toga 3 has a misprint, I think, on the momentum ability.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Install
I
Conga.
think it says something very strange along like into the momentum, so it's fixed like the issue we have there, and then Dabby.
Um, just says once per turn after attack deal damage, you may add one card from the discard pile to your momentum.
Oh, maybe it got changed, but I know someone brought up the fact that Toga did have some issues in the past with it. Oh, she's so far away, Toga 3.
But yeah, like,
Uh,
these are really cool looking promos. Um, yeah, obviously I was being sarcastic about the no one plays Toga 3. Like, she's
Yeah,
definitely one of the top 10 characters at the moment that I think a lot of people are playing. So,
Christopher
um,
just took down his local qualifier with Toga Free.
yeah, yeah. So someone was in the main Discord saying, "Oh, why we're playing Toga 3, no one plays." I'm like, actually, no. She's one of the 10 best characters. Loads of people are playing her.
I think they
So,
picked some very playable characters. Dabby Free,
yeah,
it is very, very playable. It's just the fact that the promo next to him plays a lot of his stuff better than him.
yeah. The only thing I would question is this a the symbols on it, right? Are they correct in terms of the set symbols? Are we printing some of these forward? I don't know if that was ever
Uh,
answered.
that's a very good question.
Because
That's
obviously, Nice Tries, Undaunted Raids, Contempt for Heroes, and Shiggy 3 are League of Villains. Toga 3 is Jetburn. Dabby 3 is Jetburn, right?
yes.
So yeah, it'd be the question of like, are we printing any of these forward? Because I don't think it necessarily affects Nice Try in terms of when it rotates. Um, but I think it does affect Shiggy 3 and Contempt for Heroes.
Oh yeah, because these have all got the Jetburn logo on them.
Yeah.
So
I don't think that
yeah,
was
it
ever
will do.
answered. I did tag
That's yeah, no, that would
Matt
actually
in Discord, and I don't think he ever replied.
yeah. So again, nice try is Undaunted Raid, which
Yeah, I
cha-
think I think Undaunted Raid and Jetburn rotate at the same time, but I
yeah,
think League of Villains goes before them.
yeah. League of Villains is supposed to go
So Contemporary
next.
Heroes no one really cares about, but I think Shiggy 3 is the sort of
Yeah,
big one there in terms
Shiggy
of
Free
if
sticking
anything's
around.
been
This would
pushed
cause
forward.
Shiggy Free to stick around for an extra.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
did set four?
And that might be by design, right? Maybe they don't necessarily have a
Wait. No, they all rotate at the same time.
No, I'm pretty sure League of
Set four
Villains.
came out in February. Set five came out in uh May ish, May June, and then set six came out in after that, so around October November.
Oh, okay. So
So yeah,
they're all in the
yeah,
same year. I
yeah.
mean,
It doesn't
I
change when
thought
they
I thought
rotate.
League I thought League goes away at the same time as 2 and 3.
No, because remember we had the league preview event at Worlds 2022
Yeah.
when set three was already illegal. Yeah, yeah, you had me worried there,
Okay.
but yeah, no, it basically it just makes them all Jetburn characters, which is pretty cool. But no, it doesn't affect the rotation.
Yeah, and then being printed with Jetburn symbols makes no difference. So yeah, okay, it doesn't make any difference then. That's fine. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah, these look really cool,
if they've been
and
printed with gold power symbols, that's a whole different matter. But yeah,
yeah, yeah, they look really cool. Like the characters should be the participation promos, and then like the only miss there is Contempt for Heroes, right? It's not the worst foundation, but I don't think generally sees any sort of play. So there's plenty of ones they could have
I don't think
pulled
there's
out the bag.
many. Yeah, the fact they
But
gave nice try to twice, they could have stuck any of like the Toga's weapon foundations on there. Like they could put
yeah, I mean,
Death Removers on there.
again, a lot. The part of this, what you need to remember is approvals process, right?
Yeah,
Obviously, Zoe talked a lot about that when she was on, because it's they can't just take any old card, put a spinner's face on it, and call it a day, right?
no,
Because part of what the approvals process will be making sure that the card thematically works with the character in terms of like it makes sense. So again, I could see the argument for nice try being on twice, um, but it's finding something like I don't know. Let's think of another card that would have been cool to reprint as a promo that everyone uses.
I mean, if we're going to go into that, we'll go into that when it comes to the side event promo because I think that's a bigger one that they could
Well,
have
I'm
done
just I'm
for.
just trying to think of just any old like just a card from like Flustered, let's say, right? Flustered is a card that everyone loves and uses. So that's they wanted to put Flustered as a promo and just put
Yeah,
Spinner's face on it, right? Again, the IP holder could well have said that doesn't make sense for Spinner's face to be on a card that says flustered and works with charge stuff. We're out. We don't. We no. We want these because like they do get that kind of in depth in terms of how protective they are their IPs, and that's totally fine. So you do have to remember sometimes that hands are sometimes tied in terms of what they can do in terms of that approvals process. Um, and I think that's also I would guess that that's partly why we've had delays on this stuff in terms of that approvals
Yeah.
process for these promos.
I mean, we're what 2 3 weeks out, and we're getting them now. There was definitely something going on between UVS and Toho that
Yeah,
caused it to be a little bit
and
late.
it's just a long-winded process, and obviously, like I say, Toho are very protective of their IP, as they probably should be, right? So that's why these things take time.
It might have been a thing of, well, why are Bakugo and Deco on here? It's like because we're doing villains, but
Yeah, exactly. Like, and that's fine. Again, it's not like I don't think they're that sort of vain about it. Like you have the deck of back, and it's like, okay, we want to do a League of Villains thing, and like the League of Villains are big enough, popular enough that I'm sure they would have been
yeah.
fine with that. But again, it's just
I
finding the right
mean,
cards
the
that
most
make sense
popular
from there.
villains are the most popular villains are the ones that got character cards. So
Yeah, like Toho don't care about how playable or effective the card is. Really, all they care about is that like the names and stuff is going to make sense with what character and what art you're using
how
on the
do you
card.
feel about the fact that the participation cards are now the champion cards, similar to season one?
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice for the champion and stuff to get different ones to almost put a bit of value into that. But again, it's that approvals process of getting it, just even some extra art out. It's like the value and
Hmm.
the cost to UVS of doing that. But like again, so for example, like I don't know, a champion falling skies. Like there's going to be some value in that, right? So
So a few, I kind of assumed this is what was going to happen, but the one I liked the most that someone brought up was, given what the set like who the promos are, a champion all for one would make the most sense here thematically.
yes, and again, like I'm totally okay with there being gate kept alternate arts, right, or premium stuff, but just like the same shit but with a stamp on it. It's just like no one really cares because part of it, yes, like not to sound mercenary, is that the winners, yes, they want their shiny thing to say I won, and a lot of people will just there are people who will take that stuff and they'll never want to get rid of it because that's the thing they earned from winning, right? But there are people who want to have like a positive EV, right? To get all cringy about it, like an expected value. Like they want to be able to have that conceptual idea of I can make money from winning this tournament, right? Or doing really well. And part of that comes down to the promos having value on the secondary market, right?
Hmm. I think the
So
big prize this time is meant to be you get that seat at Worlds and the $500 travel voucher.
sure, sure, but even like yeah, that's only for like the winner, right? Like top cutters, they still want to have some amount of value, like to their promo. So if like
Yeah,
if top eight got like an all for one, or yeah, or like a falling skies, or something where only they have. Similar to how like season one, obviously there was much more hype about the game, so they took in crazy money. But things like those frigid heat waves and Detroit smashes in those early days that were you only got them if you won or top cut those big old tournaments at the very beginning, and they were the only way to get those alternate arts.
the reduced smash from Nats was a huge one because it was such a
Yeah,
playable card. But
yeah, exactly.
it is,
I think
I think,
just having access to those alternate treatments. Again, I'm totally okay. They can, as long as we're not locking mechanically neat stuff in, they can
yeah,
do whatever sort of alternate treatments they want. Like, and again, but it's just one of those things of IP owners are very protective about their IPs, and going through those approval processes, even when it's just foiling an existing art, can be tricky. So
yeah.
it's just from UVS perspective, it's just kind of that sort of cost benefit analysis, right?
I wonder if it is something that is affecting attendance though, that the top cuts aren't really getting anything special. You have to get first to get the champion promos, but
Yeah, I
other than
mean,
that,
yeah,
you're getting the
obviously
mat.
they get some booster packs and stuff, and
That's
it
true.
just is what it is, right? Um, yeah,
Yeah, Card
and again, I'd
Goblin.
imagine
So we've got
that's
Card
something
Goblin.
they're looking at, right, in
Yeah,
terms of how to make the pricing more attractive. Um,
yeah, and Card got a good point here. They need a reason for aiming for the win. Besides, I've won. I mean, and
mhm,
having that desirable pricing. I mean, the champion cards are great. The Worlds invite's great. The mat is very cool, but it is
mhm.
having the same promo as everyone else, just with champion on there and uh some champion wording in the back, which isn't the most uh like seeable. Isn't the
Mm.
same as just going, here is a completely different card that you
Yeah, I
get.
mean, it's
And
why we all complained at the first HLC, right? We all got the same promo characters, but they just had a very little stamp
yeah,
that said HLC on them, right?
I mean, it was
So,
great for us because we hadn't had access to them, but I can understand why the Americans were annoyed.
mm,
But yeah,
yeah.
that was a bit of a weird one. And then we were told that some changes were coming last year that would make all of that kind of make more sense. But yeah, it was a little bit of a cop out. And then this year's HLC was a lot better.
Mhm.
We got very cool alt art cards around this the stamp. Uh,
Again, I genuinely think that UVS would love to do more and are trying to do more, and the big blocker is their partners, right?
yeah,
And just getting an art and artifact approval. Like, I think that's just
UVS want this to be the best game. They don't want to be beholden to other people. They want to be able to give us cool stuff and advertise and do all the stuff that will make
mm.
them the best game in the world. So I imagine that they are working on a way to sort of be less beholden to IP holders and get us things quicker and build up hype because they want us to have hype for their events.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. They want them to have that, um, possible like value to them, right? So that so it becomes attractive for people to go to them.
One of the
Um,
and then we got the season two side event promo, which is fan favorite with All Might On, which is a very cool flavor.
I couldn't even remember what the text of this one did.
So fan favorite has the enhance. You remove it, and you may build one non-unique foundation from your discard into play. I know this because I have faced
Oh,
it 3 times.
oh,
This
it's the plus ultra one.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
and
why I
it
didn't really recognize
has.
it.
I think it has a deadlock that lets you pick up an attack from your card pool as well, or from your discard.
Yeah, flip out an attack from discard pile to
Yeah.
your hand.
Yeah, I faced this against Declan Savage in the Swiss for the first regionals. I've
Hmm.
played against it in a couple of decks at the Stronghold. And when Tam said that nobody plays this, I immediately got defensive because like I have faced this card so much.
But in general, it's not a particularly highly
I
played
don't
card
know why not, because having that ability to just
because
remove
it's a
it
three
and
four,
building,
3/4.
yeah, but having the ability to just build in any foundation from your discard to help you out, like you can pick up Psyche, you can pick up uh, I forgot what the ones are. Yeah, I've seen it used to pick up some very defensive or offensive
Yeah,
foundations.
the text on the card is a thing, but it's just I think there is a high bar to find deck spots as a 3/4
That's fair. That's fair. I think this is a
and as a
very.
3 mid block. Like the corner numbers on this card are not attractive. So
I think this is a very cool looking card. I want it just for the art alone, uh,
hmm.
but that also requires not doing well at regionals because you have to take part in side events.
No, usually like the side event promos,
They
like
were, but no,
they
because
get the top cuts get them. Like
I don't think we'll have to wait for the breakdown. But I think Titan Cliffs were
yeah, I'm
only.
sure top cut has got Titan Cliffs. And like
After,
if you got top cut, I'm sure you got Titan Cliffs.
I'm sure they won't want to split out, but we'll have to see what the prize breakdown will be.
Hmm.
Hopefully that'll be cool. But I really like this. I think it's very cool art. I think it's very cool design, and I think
Hmm.
it's a card that does see a lot of casual play, so it's perfect as a promo for side events.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it's not a terrible card. It's just yeah, it's just I think a lot of this is just the you know maintaining those relationships with IP holders and those approval processes and sort of just being hamstrung by that in terms of what they would love to do and therefore and then like how it ends up in terms of what they can actually do.
Yeah. Speaking of relationship with IP holders, one of the other things that may have been causing the delay is that the Top Cut mat and Champion mat is Critical Role, which is the first time. The first time
I
we've
would be.
had a we've had like cross of IPs during an event.
I mean, this is just existing artwork, right? So again, it would just be a conversation for this one of can we put this on some playmats? And I
Yeah,
think
but it's also going to Toho and going, we want to use My Hero promos, but Critical Role mats. And I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah, that might have been part of it as well. Like they don't, but like again, I think Toho almost certainly should be bought into the idea of the multi IP nature of this game by now, right?
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, again, we don't know. We're just
yeah, this,
speculating.
this is just wild speculation, but I think that might have been one of the delays. I can't imagine
Mm,
the Critical Role guys being like, yeah, no, we want it all to be Critical Role for a challenger. But when we're 7 sets into Toho, they might be more inclined to go. If you're doing My Hero, we want the entire event to be My Hero. When we're trying to move away
yeah.
from the pure My Hero branding, because we're not the My Hero CCG, we're Universus.
Yes.
How do you feel about the placement of the actual wording for the Top Cut mats?
It's a little understated for me.
I
Like I feel like
I'll let you finish.
yeah, I feel like for one of these champion mats, I want it to be a little bit more in your face. It doesn't need to be plastered everywhere, but I would like it would be nice for it to be a bit more visible, a bit bolder.
Yeah, I think it's a better move than last last season's where it was just like constantly
I'm not
all
I'm
over the
not
map.
convinced, but yeah,
I didn't like that at all, especially when it was on mats that you could purchase without that. From what I've seen, these mats are not purchasable. These are mats specifically for OP, which I think is a very
yeah,
good
and
move.
so that makes sense if these are just available for doing well at these tournaments, right? It makes sense that you almost don't necessarily need to blare out the top cut wording on it or
Yeah,
regional champion because if I've got it, then I did it, right? So,
yeah, I
like,
think.
unless there is some sort of plan in the future to market these in terms of putting these on retail sale, which I would be very surprised. Um,
Well, I checked the Bliss the distributor, and these mats were not available for purchase through Bliss. So that
yeah,
can
again, I think they are probably just keeping it to um, like just
yeah,
the placings mats, and that's fine.
and if that's the case, that kind of needs to rather it needs to be more publicized that this art is exclusive for the winner mats, because that will make people feel like I said, it feels a lot more exclusive than what you go. Yeah, no, these mats aren't able to be purchased; they're only going to be getting, which I think
Mm,
is a lot better than, as you're saying, hiding mechanically unique cards in an event it feels bad, but putting exclusive art playmats in an event is
totally
also
fine.
very cool.
Yeah. And yeah, like I say, if these are only available from top cutting one of the season two events, they don't necessarily need to say top cut or champion on it because it's sort of implied by owning the thing.
Exactly. Then we had the big article. I didn't get to do one of my Bill Start memes for this article because I covered the Harley Quinn at the same time, so that was the focus of the thumbnail. But I did get to meme in a different way about the design article. So I got called out in this design article. And I
You
found that
did.
I did, and I woke up at 5:30 in the morning on Friday to a bunch of people messaging me and tagging me, going, "Yeah, you've been called out in this article." I was like, "Cool." So this week's article from Bill Stark was about the new character rarities moving into Attack on Titan. So we will now have common and uncommon characters. ultra rare characters, and of course, secret rare characters. And oh, there you go. Got Card Goblin saying they're not available from Asmode either for the playmats. And then we're during this article, we were basically told that the drop rates would be that in a singular box, you'd get all the commons, uncommons, and rare characters, half the ultra rare characters, and then it would take you 3 boxes on average to get a secret rare character. So
Yeah.
within a case, you'd get all the characters of the main rarities, and then 2 secret rare characters, depending on how many secret rare characters there are. But the important thing is this does not affect the pull rates of the main pack. This is
Have they
all
not? They've not said how many of each rarity there
they've
are,
not
right?
said how many characters are going to be in the set, nor what rarity those characters are going to be.
Okay.
This is all contained in the character slot for the pack, so you're not going to be pulling characters as your secret rare, where the foundation's attacks and other things would be.
Yeah. So this is the one change that I came away from Vegas not being a fan of.
Really, this is
Uh,
the one.
yeah.
Fair enough.
Like the rest, like I think it's more of a suck it and see to an extent. But in general, I'm not a fan of the idea of the character rarity thing. Um,
I know this
I don't
because
think it's going to be a huge deal,
I.
but I'm not a fan of it in general.
So when they announced the 6 SRs, it was a conversation we had on stream, and I wanted to find a clip so I could play it of when we were talking about it. And I was like, "What if we got SR characters?" And you're like, "They would never do that. That seems like a really dumb idea."
Mm,
And then I went on Discord and we were talking. I managed to find one of the places where I said for girl power that I'm allowed to think that Stars and Stripes was going to be an SR character.
hmm
Uh, and then they did. And apparently, I'm just batting 100. It seems because I called SR characters months ago, and then they came out, and it had been in production long before I even mentioned it. But
Yeah.
like you're saying, I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue. I think the article stated that it's designed to get hype around very popular characters. That when you open a Levi, a Deku, a Yusuke, that it's designed to be more hype than opening a common character. And that's where I got called out when it was said that you should feel more hype opening Izuku Midoriya than opening a Dabi, and then I got apologized to which I responded in the Discord after after the promos were announced, going, Dabi got 2 promos this year, and Izuku only got 1. Scoreboard, Bill. Look at the scoreboard.
Yeah. I get it. Like I get it, but yeah, like Carl been saying in chat, like let's say one of the SR characters is just the equivalent of like an Endeavor 3, right?
Yeah,
It's like yeah, um,
the accessibility goes down a lot, as you're saying. If people are pulling 2 a case, so if Card Goblin opens their 10 cases and they get their 20 SR characters, and those
yeah, like
characters,
they might not be huge monies, right? Because once people have got one, they don't care about having
but
the second one,
if
and it's extra trade bait you're getting in your booster. Like it's in theory kind of artificially adding value to a booster pack, right?
but as
Sorry,
Matt plays
Scotland
says,
lost, sadly.
Matt plays says in chat, and as you were alluding to, if the SR character is very very good, if they're an Endeavor, Falling Skies level of SR, then people are going to hoard them because it drives down accessibility of those characters, and you're less likely going to see them at events, and you've got them where you can turn up to events. It's going to drive up the prices of these SRs, making that they're a lot less accessible, and it's going to really hurt collectors. It's going to hurt casual players because, as Nathan James was saying in Discord, he doesn't buy that much product. He goes through like borrowing cards from people, and
Yeah,
the ca-
Nathan's opinions on what the contents of a booster pack are null and void.
but he does
His collection is Mike.
yes, but he does raise a very good point here that the casual player, the player that isn't buying a case, has
Hmm.
to rely on the secondary market to get hold of these characters. I know there were situations where people were buying booster boxes before and they weren't getting one of every character, but when they were all in the character slot, you could get hold of characters very quickly. If they're in
Yeah,
ultra rare,
yeah.
if they're secret rare, your more casual player, your the people who aren't sharks may struggle to get hold of these characters that are playable because my personal opinion is that
But the
the common and uncommon characters are going to be more drafted towards sealed, and your rare,
maybe
ultra rare,
I
and
mean
secret
they're
rare are
not
going to
all
be
going to
gold.
be like that, right? Like the but for the casual player, like they don't necessarily need the competitive characters. Like that isn't where their designs lie, right? That's not. They just want the character they want, and it may well be that like one of the secret rare characters is the character they want, right? I don't know what I know. Levi's a character from the show. Let's say Levi is a secret rare, whatever. I
Yeah,
don't really know who else is actually in it. Um, let's say they're a Levi stan and Levi's secret rare character, and so they've got to chase him, right?
yeah.
That might be a positive thing. They might end up, therefore, maybe buying more product or seeking out the secondary market and finding and going to Card Goblin and buying one of their copies of Levi for 20 quid or whatever, you
But
know.
there's the issue.
Or or they
Oh,
might say, well, I have to what buy 3 boxes in order to get a copy of Levi. Fuck it, I'm out. Right? That it could go both ways. Um,
Card Goblin is a Levi stan, but that's you hit the nail on the head there. If look at repeated Smash, when it was in its heyday, when Repeated Smash was its most playable, the base copy was approaching $100. If you
yeah,
have a character that is of younger to go proportions in this set that's acting as their secret rare, you could quite easily see that character get to that point because you things like battle armors.
yes. And while again, I am generally on the opinion of I don't think this is necessarily a good thing overall, right?
Yeah,
I personally I would not put this as a thing in the game. However, I don't think but however, like cards having value on the secondary market is a good thing for the game in general. And it's always one of those things of the kind of give and takery of it. So like from a player perspective, just from a me,
yeah,
the best thing for me in terms of like being able to play the game and do what I want, all cards are worth 50 cents, right? Like they ain't
yeah.
that I can just go to Card Goblin, buy 4 copies of Falling Skies for 2 quid. They're not worth anything. So I can always have the cards I want. Great, right? That's for me, from a selfish perspective, like having all the cards have virtually no value, so everything is cheap and I can just buy stuff. Right? It's great. That is horrible for the game as in general. Like you need box opening products to have a positive expected value, right? It needs to be financially viable for Card Goblin to open a box and and conceptually make money from doing so, or other people to open boxes and make money from doing so, and for cards to have value for the health of the game overall. In order for like because if if all the cards in the sets are worth 50 cents, then you end up in a situation where you get Heroes Clash, right? Where a retailer maybe has bought I don't know how much like the margin shit offer. Let's say a retailer buys boxes of My Hero products at 40 quid and they sell them for 80. Obviously numbers out of my arse,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
let's say they do that, right? If opening a box of Heroes Clash gets me 20 or 30 quid worth of cards because they're all worth peanuts, like why am I buying a box Heroes Clash? I'll just buy the singles, right? So that and you end up in a situation where you can buy boxes of Heroes Clash on Amazon or whatever it was for like a tenner. That was the case for a bit.
I think
So
the biggest issue with Heroes Clash was the Chromes being in first edition, which meant
it,
second unlimited
the
just
cause doesn't
crashed.
matter, right?
Yeah,
The cause why it was so cheap is it sort of doesn't matter. The fact is the cards didn't have value, therefore the boxes didn't have value, therefore that was a really big problem for the game in general. Like, because retailers could not sell the product at any sort of profit. People weren't wanting to buy it. Singles weren't worth the paper. They weren't worth opening packs. That's a problem. So, like, yes, I don't think characters are the way to inject that sort of value into the game in terms of packs being opened and having value. I don't think it's going to be a huge deal. I think let's say Secret Rare Levi is really good, right?
Yeah,
Week one, he's probably going to be maybe $50 or something, or maybe $100. Who knows? 2 months in, it's probably going to be $20 at most, right? Um, yeah,
yeah,
I think we sort of had a similar discussion, Richard, at the regionals. To be honest, about it, it needs to have value, and like
yeah.
cards having value is a good thing. It just is,
So
and
basically if people are trying to go through Catgom's massive pile of text there on the tiny little thing we got in there.
mm,
Basically, the secondary market is very, very important. We're just having the discussion. We're going to go back and forth. It doesn't, our personal opinions will come into it as well.
mm,
But yes, cards need to hold value for this game to be important. And one of the biggest things that does draw people in is how cheap the game is. But at
yeah,
the same time, because of how cheap singles are, booster boxes don't retain value. This is a very good point. I know personally that on eBay you can pick up things very quickly, cheaply. I have reported lots of times on buying cases for like £100
yeah.
because
But that is a trend they've sort of got away from,
yeah,
right? Like UU has plenty of value in those boxes, right? Even Jetburn has a reasonable amount of value. Like the one secret rare per box, I think has helped a lot actually in that thing. I imagine Gold Power will hold a reasonable amount of value.
and
You still see like Wall the Dog and Battle Release going for 30 quid plus as an ultra rare. Like
yeah, and that's
I
just
don't
it.
like that personally because I still need 3 battle releases, right? And I don't have the money to spend 100 quid on 3 extras. And
Yeah.
for the game as a general, it's a good thing.
But yeah,
Like,
I think also the degree of cards changing has been very, very impactful. If you look at pre Undaunted Raid, all the secret rares were very gimmicky,
yeah,
and then they moved into more. No, we these secret rares are going to matter, and we got
hmm
repeated smash, we got manifest, we got secret rares that were phantom threat. We got secret rares that were actually impactful into the game and actually made a difference.
yeah,
And still, they didn't cost too much, not including repeated smash because that thing was nuts in its heyday and probably still is in the right deck.
yeah. It's
But
probably actually quite underplayed card at the moment, to be honest.
things like Dropkick Slicer, Weapon Heroes Clash, I don't think any but 5% and Howitzer were outliers, of course, because they
Yeah,
were
the set one stuff was like the set one secrets were good, and I think they're an appropriate power level for a secret, right? They were both really
yeah.
good.
But look at set four. Set four secret rares. Hold Hostage is a very conditional card. United
Mm,
States of Smash, I don't think ever saw play.
no,
The biggest thing that people chase in League of Villains is Vile Season. I can't really think of any other cards.
no, actually, it's weird. Like when like one of the things I quite often do is I'll have a bunch of decks built, and then I'll be like, right, nuke it for it, and I will take all my decks apart. I'll put everything back in the folders, and then I'll rebuild some decks.
Yeah.
And it's always quite an interesting exercise from that perspective of because then I've got this pile of D-sleeve cards. I need to sort it out into the sets. Set four generally is the one with the least any. Like there's
There, there
usually
are there are very good cards in League of Villains. Don't get me wrong.
Mm.
Uh, I'm I'm a big fan of set two, and people absolutely hate set two.
No, set two usually has quite a
Yeah,
reasonable chunk, to be
that's just it.
honest.
People seem to forget about. But if you go to anyone like
It was
what,
just again the power and stuff was just it was all at the common uncommon level. Like there was only really a couple of vultures that were
yeah,
good.
and
So
then it's the
and the
same
characters
with
were shit.
it's the same when you go to League of Villains. If you go to ask anyone, if I buy League of Villains, what am I looking for? It's a case of Vile Season. It's like, well, why don't I just buy singles? Well, because a box of League of Villains is cheaper than a Vile Season.
Yeah. exactly, and that's not good for
No,
someone like Carl, right?
not great for card
So
goblins. Not great for vendors. It's not great for stars like Gary who will have boxes just sitting there
yeah,
because
so,
people.
like obviously this is a completely separate discussion, but I don't personally, I don't think character is the way to inject that value. I think I think part of the good things about this game is people being able to play the character they like, right? Being able to hook on to that identity they really enjoy and play it, like you with Dabby, right?
Yeah,
Um, like imagine you started this game, you're a big Daddy fan in general, like, and
I actually
your
wasn't.
first introduction to this game is that in order to play Dabby, I have to pull the secret rare.
Yeah,
That could put you off just playing it from the start, right?
I
So
mean, I could probably go into it and make a whole video and stuff, but I actually wasn't that big of a Dabby fan when I started
oh, I
getting.
know, I know. It was just an example, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Again,
But yeah, I get where you're
facts
coming
are
from.
irrelevant. It's just like,
But
um,
no offense to Card Goblin or Gary or any star vendor out there, or any player, I don't think UVS should be designing sets with the secondary market in mind. I know it's the lifeblood of the game, but I don't think they should be going, okay, these cards are going to hold their value, these cards are going to sell well, these cards are what players are going to be hoarding and selling. I don't think they should be basically going in with a mindset of the secondary market, it needs an injection. I think they should be doing it as the article said. We need people to be buying products for the hype of these characters. And if opening a SR Levi gives you a much bigger dopamine rush than opening an uncommon one, then I am all for it. I am all for getting people
yeah, I,
more
I,
addicted to the shiny cards.
sure, but that sort of is the secondary market to an extent, right? And I think there is there is a certain amount of maybe naivety there that they sort of have to
Yeah.
follow the secondary market and make products as attractive to all strata of players, including competitive ones. They need cards that are outliers or like standouts, like your walk the dogs, your
Yeah.
battle releases, your black abysses, right? That are your chase cards. That's just how CCGs work, right? People need to chase the crack.
Card Goblin
So
saying that they
I,
agree the game should come first, value should come second.
oh
It
yeah,
should
maybe
fall.
maybe should. It's not how it works in reality and how they do it, but
Yeah,
like
but
sure.
it's
Um,
just for me. I don't think Bill and the team should be sat there going, "The Attack on Titan needs to sell well secondary. We need players selling these cards." What they should be doing,
it's
and what
both.
I think they have done, is basically gone. We need to design a set that encapsulates Attack on
It's
Titan
both.
first, and then it is on us as the players, and it's on the star owners to basically go. These are the cards that actually have the value. This is what's worth buying the set for. Uh, and I think we are in an upward take of that kind of diminishing return where we're not seeing SRs that are not seeing play. We're not seeing where the sets are holding their value more. And I know the old heads really hate it because the average cost of a deck is increasing quite dramatically. But trying to
This is
why would
it.
you trying to get players to stick around when the cards they're collecting are worthless is a lot harder.
Yeah, like it's both. And
Yeah,
like, if you ever ask a company like UVS Games or Hasbro or Wizards or whatever, like, it's like, do you think about the secondary market? And they'll probably say no, and that's almost certainly a lie, because the secondary market is part of the game, right? And
yeah.
because they sort of can't really acknowledge secondary market to an extent, but it exists and is a key part of the health of the game in general, because
Oh yeah,
that's just how CCGs work. So
it's
they need the chase card. They need the sort of standouts on the set. You need your common kind of cogs and sort of bits and bobs that There's obviously a lot that goes into designing a set, and like I say, it may be fine, and there's a good chance that this character thing is fine. Just again, as a gut feel, I'm not a fan, and I don't think character is a place to put that chase stuff in, unless you're doing it at a premium edition version, right? In terms of my secret rare Levi, again, I don't know which are which. This isn't like a leak or
yeah.
anything. It's like just the
We're
one
just
character
using
name I
Levi.
fucking know from the show,
We're
right?
just using
Um,
Levi as a placeholder. We're not confirming or denying that Levi is
yeah,
in the set
exactly.
or
It's
that is the
literally just
SR.
the only name I
It's the
know.
only character that Richard knows.
exactly. So like you can get the common version of Levi that has just it's just the basic bitch one, or there's a secret rare Levi that's a stupid, crazy alternate art that's really hard to get hold of. Right? That would be my way of doing it, which they sort of do with the character walks at the moment, but they're a little bit easier, like having like some super premium version of visual arts that are really hard to get. There's a really chase version, but I guess that what
Yeah,
chromes are.
I mean,
But
if
again, I just for me, I don't like it, but we'll see how it goes. It's probably going to be fine.
yeah, it's one of those things that I jump over the fence for both sides of because I know what you're saying there with the alt arts, but we have alt arts,
We
and
have all arts, we have chromes, right? I
yeah,
mean, that's sort of what they
and
do,
yeah,
and that's why I don't think we need to put any more kind of artificial rarity into the character slot. But we'll see.
you do have those players that just don't care. I mean, you've got like Connor and a lot of the doubles we're talking about on their podcast is that they don't care about the art; they care about what the card does. And so, if you give them the uncommon or the SR, they're not going to go chasing that SR. But if you get a Levi fanboy like Richard from Card Goblin,
Hmm.
who wants that card because that's who he wants to play, they're going to go deeper, and that's great for the game. That's great for Card Goblin. It's great for the players because they're investing more time and money into the game, chasing this character, which they're then going to play because they put a lot of effort into there, and their point of diminishing return becomes a lot higher. They essentially fall into the loss fallacy, where they now have to invest more into this game to make up for what they've already invested. So it's a great way of hooking more people in if you put the protagonists and the fan favorite characters essentially deeper into this paywall. Because when a person goes, okay, I've spent $300, I got my character, I built my deck, I now need to play this. Why? Because I'm $300 in. I need to make sure I get enough fun and enough per use out of this card because I had to go so much deeper for it with my own time and my own money. And anyone out there that says your time is worthless, reassess that
Hmm.
your time is the most valuable thing you have.
Yeah, yeah. Time is priceless, man.
Yeah, as a person that sits in front of this computer 8 hours a day editing videos, sometimes I know how much my time is worth, and I know how underpaid I am. But I think that is an absolute. It's one of the things that it's a good. It's a as some people. I've been editing the like 9-person podcast, and as some of the people in there put it, it is a risk that UVS needs to take to see if it works. It might not work and it might get scrapped in the future and it might not ever come back. But I think this is a risk worth taking to see if it comes down. I just kind of wish it wasn't on a 300 card set.
Yeah,
Having like one or two SR characters in a 300 card set means it's a lot harder to get hold of because we're going to have a lot more characters than we usually do. And if we have more than two SR characters, having to buy 9 boxes to complete all your SRs is going to be an absolute pain.
yeah. We'll just have to wait and see how it pans out, really.
Yeah. I'm very excited for this week's round of articles. If we do, we've got received no information about this one this time, but we know there's
Yeah,
a lot more left
yeah.
to
We
come.
don't, whether it's a case of it's a week off. I don't know if we've got any events this week, or like again, it might be a case where they want to get it out before we get into sort of regional season.
Yeah, I think we're now deep into here, and I think they want to get all the hype out before the Oceania. I think Oceania's first before the Oceania regional, so they can start showing off like secret rares and chromes and stuff at regionals because I think that's when you can get the most hype.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, it depends, right? In terms of how they want to do that commentary stuff. Like, I don't know if they did any Gal. Did they do any Gal Power stuff during this? I can't
I
remember.
think I think they did do some like exclusive reveals during Girl Power, but it was all like on stream. It wasn't in person, apart from at Level Up where they actually had like stuff on display
Hmm.
because that was a big con. Uh, so yeah, I think it's going to be really, really cool. I have reached out to Zane about possibly getting us some interviews and footage from Oceania, but he will be judging, so it might be a bit tricky for him.
That's fair.
Because yeah, I want to get I want to get as much content as I can from all these events. I'm really hyped to see what is going to come because, as we've seen from the spoiler cards, backup has been mentioned, shift has been mentioned, and people are now going, What are these? What are they?" It's like let's go, uh, let's get as much information out there as we can because we can now start talking about stuff, Richard. And I've been waiting so
Yeah,
long for this.
yeah. I mean, there's obviously still stuff to
Yeah.
come that hopefully will be soon. So
Uh,
yeah, we just have to wait and see.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm hoping by the 4th of July, so when Joker and Harley drop in America, that
mm,
everything out is kind of out there that we can talk about. But I imagine there'll still be one or two things that might still be held back.
yeah, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Um, yeah, there's obviously a lot to come. Um, both in terms of what's going on with Attack on Titan and also like the future from there, right? Because that's also quite important about the future of the game afterwards.
Yep.
Because there's obviously a lot of questions we don't know necessarily in terms of like how sticky are things like attunement and blitz and ruin going to be in terms of going forward in other sets. Like,
And
because I can see ruin being an Attack on Titan only thing, right? It's just something we need to worry about in that because it's a set
I
keyword,
don't
right?
know. I mean, we're fighting games, like destroying defenses and stuff like that is always a big thing. I just
Yeah,
don't
but
think it'll
again,
be as I don't think it'll be as impactful or like it'll be on one or two cards. It won't be on everything. I do
no,
think
but I don't think it will become end up being like this evergreen mechanic that will be on everything.
I don't know about this. I was talking with Apple, and there's been what 8 or 9 cards with Deadlock printed on this year,
Hmm.
and now we're seeing Ruin, and Ruin is a good answer to Deadlock. So
I mean, good is a subjective term.
I mean, you
Yeah,
don't need to. You don't need. There's only one attack that we've seen so far that says you need to deal damage to actually get the ruin. We've got the assault on Utgart's castle, which is just ruin
yeah.
one.
But again, it's a seven diff, right? So it's a question of when we start seeing ruin on like 4 and 5 diffs,
Hmm.
then I'll start to pay more attention. Just because, like, again, it's a seven diff, right? Sure, it's got big numbers and blows up one of their foundations, but I'm not playing a seven for that, right? Just from
I mean,
again, I'm looking at this from a competitive landscape perspective. Like having these big Titan attacks as a Timmy thematic thing, fucking great,
yeah,
right? Um,
I could see playing the tiny attacks in Spotlight. K- Standard,
maybe,
standard. Like you got Shishi Wakamaru. You have got Godzilla, who just gives +2 to all your checks. So,
yeah.
I mean, dropping it on an 8 when you got +2 to your check seems very, very good.
I mean, you say very, very good. I think it's vaguely workable rather than very, very good because
Gentle
it's still
Criminal
just a
plays the
mid
hell out of them.
level. What's that?
Gentle Criminal can play the hell out of them.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, again, there's things you can do, but I don't. I just is it better than just play an actual good attack? I don't know. Probably not. But it remains to be seen, right?
Yeah,
And we'll have to see what the rest of these ruin attacks look like,
exactly.
and again, how big a deal they are in terms of how many we're seeing them on.
What is it? We've seen 30 attacks. So we've seen like 10% of the entire set.
Yeah, and we've got what 2 or 3 ruin cards at this point.
We've got two.
Again, I think
We've got two ruin cards. Yeah, we've got uh, Assault on Utgard Castle, which was the uh, big one, and then
okay. So
we
let
got
me set a line.
Colossus Titan Thermal Blast.
Yeah, let me set a line. Over under 10. Like 10 attacks with ruin on. The over. You taking the over or the under?
I think there's gonna be more.
I would take the under. Or I think maybe a 10 is about the right number, about the number I'd expect.
And
I don't think I don't think it's going to be huge amounts. I might be wrong, but I would take the under on 10.
I think in a 300 card set, let's say that let's so 300 we'll round it to 300. So let's say every symbol gets 25 cards. for an even 300 with 12 symbols, I would expect to see at least 3 or 4 of those 25 have ruin. So
No.
put that up to 36. That's only 10% of the entire set.
Yeah, I think it's less than 10% of the set are going to have that keyword. Again, just I don't know, gut feeling. I just think it's going to be there's going to be far fewer ruin
I
attacks
guess
than
it
maybe we
depends on how
expect.
many Titan attacks we get, because I think a lot of the Titan attacks will have ruin
Yeah,
on them.
yeah, which is why I think we get you know I think it could well be in that 15 to 20 range, but I think the money would be on just
Yeah.
picking the under on
I
10.
think
But
10 is very, very low. Uh,
yeah, but
but
like
yeah,
think about Echo, right? How many Echo attacks do you really get? Not many. And sure, it's a smaller set, but like scale that up. I just don't think it's going to be as widespread. I don't
but
think it's going to have that big an impact.
but Echo wasn't thematic for the set. Think
No, no,
about
no.
the
I get
way,
that, but again, because it's thematic for Titans doing their thing,
yeah.
right? And it's not like every single Titan attack is necessarily just going to have ruin on it.
No, we've seen like
So
horse toss and stuff which don't.
exactly. So hence why I'm much more conservative in terms of how many cards I think it's going to be on.
Yeah, and I mean
Um,
the entire isn't just going to be about the Titans. We do have the Survey
yeah,
Corps and the military police and all sorts that are going to be coming in.
exactly.
Uh,
So I think it's going to be on very few attacks, of which a small percentage will actually be playable. And I just don't think Ruin is not a replacement for Deadlock because it's just not going to be that
do
prevalent.
you think we'll see any deadlock in this set?
We already have.
Have we?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a Deadlock Blitz, isn't there? One of them, I'm
Oh
sure one
yeah.
of the ones
So
had a Deadlock Blitz.
yeah, so deadlock. So we'll still see some deadlock, which is very very cool. Uh,
Exactly. So, like, if they were trying to pitch this as a replacement for Deadlock, like, I don't think we'd see Deadlock.
I don't think it's a replacement for deadlock. I
No.
think it's just an addition to deadlock being like you have deadlock if they do go over, which will help you get them back under.
Yeah, my take on Ruin is it's a thematic nothing burger. Like I don't think it's anything to get knickers at a twist over. I think it's a thematic thing for Titans blasting the shit out of stuff. That's cool.
And you don't think we'll see that in Star Trek Lower Decks, which has got big
Maybe,
spaceships
maybe.
blasting the
I,
shit out of
I,
each
I
other?
don't think it's something they're going to use hugely, right? I think it'll be few and far between. And yeah, they might use it as a mechanic going forward. It may well be just to like it might just be an attack on Titan thing.
Yeah,
But
we don't know. We all we can do is wildly
obviously,
speculate.
ruin 30 part of it is you've got to look at these keywords from a thematic perspective, right? Like, is ruin something that you can take a word you can take outside of the Attack on Titan license and use that makes sense somewhere else, right?
I mean,
Yes,
yeah,
kinda.
I think the use of the word ruin rather than like putting it in more attack and time, like calling it like destruction or something like that. Putting it on ruin is very very cool, and I 100% expect if we do get a new Shigaraki for him to be a ruin character.
Yeah, like, yeah, again, ruin is a reasonably
But
generic enough term,
yeah,
right? That you can take outside of IP. So again, like, it almost certainly isn't going to go away unless it's just everyone fucking hates it and it does nothing, right?
yeah, no.
So
The
again, we'll have to see.
When I was
But
talking with like the DMS team, we showed ruin, and the first response I got from Aaron was, "This is the most Shigaraki coded ability I've ever seen." I was like,
mm,
"Yeah, if we ever
yeah,
get a new Shigaraki, 100% it's going to be a ruin character."
yeah, like your attack, checker seven, ruin one.
Yeah, just yeah, because Shigaraki's always been about foundation destruction. He's got just had Decay
Mm,
Awakening. I think that's gonna be very very cool. Uh, I think this attack is very very cool. But like you said, it's 13 diff. If you check a 3 on it, you're committing out your entire stage for a very blockable attack.
yeah, like I don't want to play citywide rampage on a five if in case I check a three on it and hate my life. Like, I want to play a 13 and check a three. However, like I say, it's the Timius card, right?
Yeah.
Like a 13 diff attack that blows up their stage if it hits them. Like, it's cool.
You mean when it hits them? Because if you're doing the Timmy of Timmy's things, you're playing this with Welcome to Spaceland.
Probably. Yeah, you're finding a way of making it hit, whether that's
It
like
is.
doing it
It's Welcome
slow
to
or
Spaceland. It's
yeah.
literally Welcome to Spaceland because you drop this, you drop Welcome to Spaceland on a 4, because they've already flipped 5, which means all you need is 5 other face downs because Blitz doesn't count as your first enhance, and you
Mhm.
go, this is a 7/7 unblockable block 13 face downs.
Yeah, yeah. Like, there's things you can do with it,
Oh
right?
yeah,
As long as you can play a 13 diff.
I 100% want to try this in Mount Lady too.
What, to make it
To
unblockable?
make it unblockable, to make it a 7/10 unblockable that stuns one.
Yeah, sure. I mean, they're probably just dead by that point. I mean, the unblockable amount lady is mostly
It's
irrelevant
not about
anyway.
the damage, it's about sending a message.
I understand, but again, it's a Timmy card. I don't think it's a competitive card.
Oh yeah,
Unless there are things that cheat that number down from 13, it's a
she
Timmy card.
Shishi Wakamaru for one. I miss Mina
Yeah.
one so much. Do you understand? Mothra, yeah, Mothra absolutely loves this card, as Psycho Yender is saying. It becomes
Well,
a
yes,
20.
he makes a 20 mid for 7
Yeah.
that just gets caped.
Well, I mean,
Um,
you've got the new Godzilla attack as well that gives it plus. Sorry, new Godzilla Foundation that gives it damage equal to its difficulty as well.
yeah, but the damage on this card's irrelevant, right?
Yeah, no,
Um,
the 20 damage means absolutely nothing if you build up 13 foundations.
yeah, like if
Uh,
you're doing the thing, you want to blow up this stage. You don't care about necessarily winning the game. You want to do the thing, which is why it's a Timmy card, right?
this is a card I expect recovery goal players to be running as a one of, just because the one time they do get to play it, they get to give it a throw.
Sure, I've blown up your stage and committed all of mine. No, I don't think recovery doesn't play this, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, but if you could blow up, or if you can put your opponent down to 0 foundations as recovery goal, knowing you're going to be able to heal too, you've committed your stage out. But yeah, you're probably still in a good position.
Again, you could just play walk the dog or barber of the wolf and actually just kill them.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's just like a one of. I think there'll be a few decks that run this as a cheeky one of.
No, it's a Timmy card. I don't think it's remotely going to see any sort of corrective play. It's cool as shit,
Yeah,
but that's it.
I might try and build a Mina one retro around it because I'm not a nice
You do
person.
you, boo.
Because I'm
But
not a
yeah.
nice person and checking this and going, I'll just scan a card to play this for free. Let's
Mhm.
go. I am not a nice person, and that seems like a fun thing to do to someone in retro or like uh see if Sean keeps up these events where it's like you can play any My Hero character and then any non My Hero character. I could legitimately play this in a side event with Mina one.
Yes, that's fine. Like I said, there's things you can do with this
Yeah.
card, but it's just Timmy, and that's fine. That's
Yeah,
totally fine.
that's just it. It's one of those things that it's a very cool card. Attacks having 4 checks on them is a very very cool thing. Go, we've got Connor in chat now saying Goro absolutely loves this card. Mothra loves this card.
Why
Oh
does
yeah,
he Goro? I don't even know what Goro does, apart from he's the four-hander, right?
yeah. I believe he gets to like discard and pick stuff up from his discard instead, and then he also gets to do dumb things with speed and damage.
Does Oh, his face downs count as 2.
His face down's counter too. That's risky in the ruin meta, but yeah. Uh, I don't play retro competitively. I mean, I've got a stack of retro cards here for me to build Dabby one retro. Building Mina one retro with this seems very very cool. The one thing we haven't talked about with the card we currently have on stage, on screen, and about the art style of the cards that we have seen. So I mean, just
Hmm.
is the design pattern on these cards, which is something
Yes,
we actually
yeah.
do know
Obviously,
about.
this is one of the secret rares. But yeah, I guess there's 2 things to note about this, right?
But do you
If
remember?
you're
Do you remember
clever.
what the difference is between commons and uncommons, rares, ultra rares, and
Hmm.
secret rares is?
Well, yeah, it's just the art changes, right? It gets in theory better as you got the rarities.
No, it's the theming of the card.
Hmm.
So let me. I've got to remember where the hell I actually put these guys now. So, so with the commons, these are based on manga panels, as we see here.
Hmm.
Rares are manga panels, which is why they've got lots of black texture, black borders. The ultra rares and secret rares are
Have we
manga
seen an ultra yet?
pages. Yeah, they're manga pages, so you're gonna have more action.
Have we seen an ultra rare yet?
Well, I don't think we've seen an ultra rare, but we have seen one of the rares where like the character is punching through multiple
Yeah.
panels, and that is a manga page. And then we have the secret rares, which are poster cards, which is why that we have the kanji here is the card name.
Hmm.
So this is colossal. This is something that used to be just be on secret rares where you had the kanji. This is not the alt art secret rare or the XSR secret rare. This is on every single
No,
rare.
this is the base version, right? And
Yeah.
obviously there'll, in theory, be alt art versions. The other thing that the eagle-eyed of you might notice is the set number down below. So first of all, it's a secret rare, but it's within the main set count. So
Oh.
there's no more 298 out of 297, right? So it's more kind of going over the top. So it's not 297 plus secret rares. The secret rares are in the main set count. But also the secret rares are usually at the end of the thing, right? So this is 287 out of 297. So that suggests there's another 10 secrets to come after this, right?
Well, including the character, yes. Because we're going to have character ones.
Again, well, it depends where the characters fall in terms of the numbering system.
I think having the secret rares part of the main set, as Card Goblin said, is going to be better for collections because we know exactly
Yeah,
how many
there's no.
cards
I
you
mean,
can own.
like it was a cool, funny thing to have it as because they're secrets. They're
Yeah,
not in the main. Like, there's no point. No one cares.
no,
Um,
but yeah, I think like having this poster design and like the kanji for
mm,
the actual name of the card on there is very cool. It's the fact that it shows we're adapting the manga, not the actual thing, not the
mhm.
actual anime, and I do love it. I think this is such a cool design, and it makes me excited to see what the alternate version of this will be if this is what the old alternates used to be.
Yes, like yeah, like I say, it looks really sweet. It's a really cool card. I just don't think it's any better to play, and
There
that's
were
fine.
there was one other thing I wanted to talk about with this card, but we will sign off soon because we've been here for quite some time. But
Hmm.
the I don't. My most exciting thing I want to do with this card is not play it, but I want to have a La Brava on the stage and have my opponent have one of these in hand, so I can rip the La Brava, see it, take it, and gain all those abilities.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, you
give it
don't.
give it to an
Unfortunately,
electric jolt.
you don't get the blitz because that's at the start and La Brava is during the enhance. But you're just going to be sat there with this response on this attack going, let's go.
Yeah,
La Brava, now much more playable if this becomes an actual thing.
no,
But there you go. If your meta is that people are wanting to play this, play La Brava and just rip it out of their hands. That is how we're going to be doing this now.
does the Bravo only take enhances, not responses?
Just La Brava. Oh, as someone who plays, I knew if La Brava only takes an answer, that makes me sad.
Yes, he gains all enhanced abilities. So
Oh, boo!
Dream crushed, I'm afraid, Brett.
The
Dream
dream
crushed.
has the card's unplayable. It's completely ruined my perception of what I can do.
Yeah.
That trash card. If anyone pulls them, I'll buy them off you for like a quid and a hand job. It'd be fine.
But yeah, it's cool. It's Timmy. It's fine.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
cool little card.
yeah, so yeah, obviously, yeah, we've had a big old news dump this week. Go
Oh,
check out Brett's videos and everything. I've also got a couple of little kind of pack openings. Hopefully, going to. I know
yeah,
we
you've
put up
got
one earlier
one
for
went live
the.
today. The other one goes live later next week.
Yeah,
We've got I mean this week's been absolutely mad. We've got the Godzilla games and tier list go up. We've had Blitz go up. We've had our card Goblin update go up. Harley Quinn and Joker, and then next week I've had to push back the gameplay from my local qualifier to like the week after this week because I've got like guess the card coming up and interviewing Nathan and all sorts. It's been really, really cool. And I've been doing some like collabs with Connor from the Dubbers when he's been available because Dubbers are now a lot more active. So if you do want to get more alternative opinions about the updates, do go check out the Dubbercast because they did a really, really cool job of breaking things down when they don't have all the information. We That's one of the things that is a big change. Is it's great watching. It's great watching unbiased opinions from people who are taking it as it comes out. Same with like Universus Academy. It's great seeing these reactions and seeing how close people are to all the information when they don't have it. And I know people are sick of me being like wanting saying I want to talk about stuff and that I can't, and just having all these teasers. But you don't understand how annoying it is for me wanting to engage with the community in these conversations and not being able to. I've not really got anything left. We went a lot longer than I was expecting with what we had, in all honesty.
Yeah, no, I think that about covers it. Like I say, yeah, just go check out all the videos on YouTube. Obviously, Brett's been a lot working. I haven't because I don't.
I
Um,
mean, you did with your pack openings.
I recorded some minute videos to do a pack opening. That was fine. I do want to do a couple of deck
Rodan Deco, yeah. You
profiles.
want to do Rodan?
Probably both on the void symbol because I'm a simp for the void symbol. Uh, and especially the Mount Lady one because I know Gary really, really enjoyed playing against that deck.
That's really
Um,
good. I'm gonna try and get
no, the opposite.
a
Um,
midnight one recorded. I'm gonna try and talk about Ghidorah with Kurama's Task. The state of Younger to go in the current meta because I think that is something that people might be interested in because
but yeah,
no one's
so
really
yeah,
talked about
hopefully I'll
it.
get those recorded as and when I can, maybe some point this week. And then when my glamorous secretary does his work. But yeah, so yeah, obviously go check out all the stuff on the channel. Go check out all the other content creators and see their takes on it, especially the Dobbers. They're all really good guys. Connor's a madman and wonderful. I'm sure they're all in shambles currently because of the football. Um,
I've not been following along, so I have no idea.
no. Um, but yeah, we've probably got more news coming out next week. We'll see. We're not aware of any. It looks like my camera's died.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
I don't. There's no way that we're not going to be getting more news coming. We've just literally hit the tip of the iceberg of the changes that are coming, and for some reason, Richard has disappeared off the screen.
yeah.
There we go. You're back. But yeah, I expect that we're going to see a lot more. I expect to see a lot more coming within the next few days. Uh, do keep an eye on YouTube because I will try and have things going the moment articles are live and stuff like that. And we'll be back next Sunday to go over your personal opinions about these changes as well.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we'll catch you all next week.
Yep.
Obviously, if there's stuff during the week, we'll catch you then. Go check out all our videos. Do all the things, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And if you do want a Bardic Menace, Mecha Godzilla, hit me up. I will trade or sell it. And obviously, if you've got any singles or seal product needs, go check out Cod Goblin because they're lovely guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks everyone for watching, and we will see you on the next one.
Bye.